Hi, we're here again.
We are here, and we're continuing our discussion on identity.
Yeah.
And I refocused on this a little bit because we've been talking about bringing love down into your awareness. Now, awareness is a is located in your identity. You have an identity of self in your own point of focus, which, if you'll notice, doesn't really have a location. You think it maybe it's in your head, maybe it's in your heart, maybe it's in your field of awareness. Where exactly is it? What's its root base? Um, we don't quite get a sense of. We've got it. We're here. That's consciousness itself.
Yeah.
But because we have a sort of centric personality identity, this is James Daniel. That's Sephira. This is a rock, and we've named things, and we give location to things. It has a separation, has a skin,
Yeah.
and it has a limitation of its energy, and it has a purpose and a name and a bank account and a car, if we're lucky. So we've created this sort of identity and image and a place, a home for ourselves to live in. But we living in it aren't that home or that self or that name or that identification. And we've been asking to have a relationship with love, which means bringing it down into you, taking the time to open yourself up in awareness and invoking it and bringing it in, and it starts to come in. It serves our purpose, and there love is, and you start to have this energetic opening with it. The natural consequences of doing that are that love is going to locate itself with you, and it's going to shift your sense of identity. It's magnetically attracting you into and towards love, which is like pulling you up by the roots. It's saying, come over into this creative power, which flows endlessly from source, and shift your identification and identity into this kind of living, loving radiance. And then your powers of living, your powers of creativity, and your powers of unfolding your own evolution will become dramatically enhanced. And that's an attractive power that love possesses. And we immediately feel a response to it in the heart because it tells you that you'll be able to be more effective. You'll be maybe able to be more effective with how you heal yourself, how you heal others, how you take care and build and create and protect and serve the greater world in which we live. It doesn't necessarily give you a sense of ability to take things away from other people, to accumulate more mass around yourself, or to grow your own personal separative fortune. Those aren't the promises love gives with its energetic, its living companionship with you. So if you're fully committed and invested in the selfishness that comes with human living, then love becomes not that attractive until you need its properties of healing, and its properties of harmony, and its properties of connectiveness to other things. And right now the human race is in a stage where it desperately needs, to incorporate the energy of love into its self. But it cannot do that unless it incorporates it into its own identification of itself as someone who holds, has, and relates to love, the energy of love. That means a shift in identity. We
You
all do.
you make such a great comment. Before I didn't think this way. You said we can function endlessly until we need healing or we need love.
Sooner or
And
later,
it's
you're going to.
amazing exactly when we shift
Well, we shouldn't
or
have to.
willing, actually.
We shouldn't have to come to love. We should be smarter than that,
Yeah.
and we are. We should recognize that if there's an energy in the universe available to everyone from like inside of them, it's already. You don't go somewhere to get it. Don't go to the top of the mountain and whack on the guru's door or the dragon's cage and say, give me some love, give me my share, my portion. It's time for me to.
Yes.
It's in you. It's in everyone. It's the place is lousy with this stuff. It's fueling the universe, but it's an energy of such subtlety that it takes a lot of maturing in a human awareness and a human identity before we go, wait a minute, what is that glittery, shiny stuff that's all around the place? It's like everywhere I look, I see these little piles of golden dust, and go, yeah, that's what the universe is built out of. It's called love. So finally, we're coming around to the point where we go, what good is this stuff? Well, it has incredible creative powers. They're built into it. You can do anything with this stuff. Well, let's get to work with it. So that sounds like, why not? Just roll on forward. Except that it creates a complication in our lives, or this would not be a crisis. It's a crisis because what you've already got going on without love is being disturbed radically by this moment in which we need to incorporate it. And it's not love's fault. It's not our fault. It's not fault at all. It's nature. It's the nature of transformation. It's the nature of we must give up as we take up. That's the law of living. If you're going to evolve past a certain stage, you must take the tools that got you here, set them down, and pick up the tools that take you for the next stage of the journey and start incorporating them into your life. And one of the tools is identity itself. Sorry, even your human identity was borrowed out of experience that you had living without love. Now that you've gotten to the place where you can incorporate love, because we opened it up, we're letting it come down into our awareness and we're identifying it. Once you realize what that stuff's doing in your life by the constant, steady inclusion of it, you're going to not want to stop. You're going to want to continue. You're going to want to intensify it. You're going to want to increase it and turn it into a river flowing through you. However, it's going to disturb the status quo. It's going to disturb your sense of propriety. And love won't compromise. You're going to learn some rules about love if you want to play. If you want to play in love's game, it's like baseball, You can do a lot of things, but you got to stay within the baselines. Otherwise, you're out. You can't just do whatever you want in any of these sports. In life, you have to live within the rules of love. And love has this incredible limitations. And one of them is that it will not violate free will. Sorry, you can't get it to do that. So I don't get to impose my love on Zafira to a point where it violates her intention or interest. Everyone has their own within them, and it is incumbent upon each of us to unfold the love from within us that transforms us into a love-based being at our own pace, in our own way, the way we must do to keep our sense of identity growing healthily and positively into love. And once we respect what a change it is for each of us to go through, to go from a love-less being to a love-more being, then we start to back off each other, and we start to try to inspire each other into love, instead of trying to force people's love out of them and onto us because we want them to love us, or forcing our love onto them because we want them to be loved by us. That's all just old world nonsense. You have to stop that. You have to let love be a living presence with you that operates according to its own inner directions. And those directions require a change in our identity. And if you'll stop and free yourself, you were talking about love coming from the center of the whole universe. The whole universe is connected with love. And yet we have taken it and separated it around characters and
because we don't think. Majority of people, it's like we're not focused in this idea of what universe is.
No, that's not surprising. We have very bad teachers
Yeah.
in our basic school system, and the
Yeah.
teachers in the world who understand love because they live it, they've learned it, they express it, they're fully identified with it. They're the Buddhas, the Christ, the beings, the Krishnas, the beings of infinite loving consciousness. For them to try to explain what that means to them, what it means to each of us, what it means to the universe, is a very difficult conversation because we're not coming from it. So we're like, what are you talking about? What? And we don't identify with that person because our own identification of ourselves, in terms of who and what we are, is missing love. So those who are incorporating it and have changed their nature into something that's love-based don't look right to us. They look strange to us. And strange is bad in the old perception of how we are about things. We're so superstitious and fearful of things that are different. So we immediately club them to death. Is that a snake? Bam, 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 bam. Well, that's not that kind of a snake. Yeah, all snakes are bad snakes. So we have a kind of knee-jerk reaction out of fear to things. And this fear is causing great harm right now in humanity because love is pressing at the door. And because we've systematically and purposely rejected almost every intelligent voice for love, we're bewildered by what's going on. So we need to stop and realize that all of these separations that we built around religions, here's a Christian religion, here's a Muslim religion, here's a Buddhist practice, here's a Hindu practice or religion, here's all these separating ideas. But functionally speaking, life's life. It's an energy, and love is the primary energy of that life that we need to put ourselves in a positive relationship with, and we don't have to make it a personality contest because the Buddha's better at it than the Christ or Krishna or somebody else. We need to stop all that. Right now we need to stop all that because we're in a crisis. We're in a crisis where people are dying from the change in themselves required to live love. You can think it's some secondary thing out there, some disease, some effect of something, but it's us. All crises, as we have said, is a crisis in consciousness. We're not letting ourselves transition into a love-based awareness because it's conflicting with the non-love-based awareness that's already in us. So we need a transitional identity. Think about this a little bit and it will start to mature in you. Out here is an identity that's someone fully transformed into love. And it's a fabulous place to be because you have the full creative power of love. You have the relationship to all things in the universe that live love, which is practically everything other than us. And the negativity in you is gone. So you're finished with that cycle of warring with yourself between the opposites. So that's out here, and we're going to be somebody there. What do you look like there? How are you? And here you are now, this person, this semi-superstitious animal type human that's looking at life through who are you and where are you from? And because we have lacked the creative power of love, we don't know how to keep ourselves safe and free of danger and out of harm's way and take care of our people that we care about. So over here is this type of person we've developed over time. And that has to change. And you have to realize, okay, that's okay. That's where we are. That's where our feet are. We have to walk where our feet are. But over here is this love-based person that I'm going to be. So I'm going to bring these two together. As I bring love into my awareness, it's going to help me bring this person out here that's fully love inherited and transform with this person here into something that finally becomes enmeshed into one being. And then I could start cleaning up the loose ends of a personality that still has negativity in it because it has certain fears. It's still got a fear of spiders or snakes. It's got a fear of people going to give me the evil eye. But I'm getting over that, and I'm letting love become my strength so that I realize at some point I'm invincible in love. Once I have fully identified with this stuff, I'm incorruptible. But I also have to give up violating love. Love is an energy. You can't just do what you want. Now let's go elephant hunting. I think we've probably shot enough elephants to death for fun. Really, I think we have. And yet if we put out the licenses, anybody want to shoot an elephant, we'd have more, all the elephants would be gone overnight. We still have that much primitiveness in us, that much love of authority and power over other things, and that much willingness to cause death in something that is sacred. So learning the sacredness of life, which is sacred to love, and learning that we have to have a better relationship to the animal kingdom than shooting elephants to death for fun, those are things that we're coming to understand. And a part of us wants to impose those laws on everybody else, and then another part of us wants to protect the elephants, and another part of us says, get out of my way, I want to shoot that thing. This has to come to this is where we have to find this sense of each of us realizing that out there is a person who has a completely different identity than the one I've got now, and much better. And as love is this energy that's starting to come into our empowerment, the whole human race needs it. And so I have to give some things up. I have to let go of certain things that I've held on to. I grew up in Alaska. I've been through war. I'm kind of a wild son of a bitch. And I have to give up a certain amount of my own wildness. And there's a joy in wildness for those who have it. That doesn't mean the world is a place that I can't go for a hike out in the wilderness. But I don't need to kill the wilderness when I go there. So go ahead, I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's finish this up, because this is just about bringing the two identities together in yourself.
Yeah, let's wrap up.
No, but what did you want to say something?
I don't want to go beyond the time, but probably, okay, I will say it about our identification. To me, the most separative identification is through religion. And the Christ, the Buddha, the Krishna, they all was teaching us something not about religion and to be identified with specific religion beliefs, but they was teaching us about universal love and universal wisdom.
That was pretty universal to them.
Yes.
But it was not exclusive.
Absolutely.
And even when we get to, and we aren't having religious discussions, because this is about love.
No, it's about why I'm bringing right now identification.
Right.
When we identify with the wholeness of what we are here and the teaching was given to us, we can lose up and identify with greater than.
Well, we can identify with love, because love refuses
Yeah.
to join us in separativeness. It won't let you
Yeah.
be the exclusive owner of it. It belongs to everyone, it lives in everyone, and it unifies everyone. So it pretty much lays to rest the whole idea of these separative ideas, these separative thinking.
Yeah.
And we'll come to know that. That's why love is beyond human intellect at this stage. At this stage, human intellect separates and divides. At a further stage, when love is incorporated into the mind of humanity at a certain depth and level, then intellect opens out into the universe, and we realize there is no boundaries.
Yes.
The only boundaries are boundaries of identification. What do we identify with in ourself?
Yes.
And this identity that you're forming now, letting go of your separative identity, is secure. It takes some thinking, which is why the Buddhas and the Christ, they understand the origins and nature of identification and identity, and they realize that the identity in love that we inherit, which is what's going on in the human race in this crisis, is an identity that is rooted in eternal outflowing process, and it doesn't require any separation from anything to maintain its sense of integrity. Now, how that integrity is maintained, how individuality can grow and grow and grow, stay connected to everything in the universe without any separation, and still maintain its integrity towards a final union and unity in the universe, that's one of the mysteries of these great beings. And as they strive to explain how that works to us, it can get a little bit confusing. So we need to set aside the confusion, incorporate love in, and then in love, these things are revealed to us. If without love, you can't understand a universe in which love functions.
Yeah.
So incorporate it in, bring it in, keep it growing in you, and let your identity prepare to shift over into with in a natural loving process, and we'll get through this crisis with as little death as possible.
Yeah.
And understand that we are free of that old fear and anxiety.
Thank you.
That's step 2 of this. We're carrying on.
Yes.
Talk to you next time.